So over the weekend, I really enjoyed the teachings on how to see yourself as you really are. There's so many gems during the weekend, but I try to grab one that spoke to me at the moment because it reflected some prior behavior that I've been wanting to look at more closely, and so this was my opportunity to do that. So what is the best way to help somebody? Especially if they have not asked for it. So that was a question that Venerable asked quite directly during the teaching. I believe it was yesterday, and it's just like, it made me pause, and I had to write it in big letters on my document where I was taking notes. Have you ever been in that type of situation where you just knew exactly what was best for somebody, what they needed, what would make a big difference in their life, right? If they only would listen to you, if they only would stop whatever they were doing and pay attention to what you were saying because you knew best. And you were so eager to give them that advice because it was just at the tip of your tongue and you were just itching to take them out of their ignorance and help them out. And this desire to be so helpful was so strong that you forgot to listen to their own assessment of what they needed, forgot to ask, or even forgot they had a say in it to begin with, right? So that's really very easy to do. Even with the best of intentions, even with the best of ideas, even with our own heart full of love and compassion, I have a tendency to do that. And nothing bombs more quickly than unrequested, unsolicited advice. But do we learn that? No. I know I have fallen in that trap many times, more than I would care to remember. Of course, upon hearing that or realizing that I was engaged in that sort of helping behavior, I was taken aback and surprised because my intentions were good. Yeah, I had the best intentions in my heart, and they were completely selfless. No personal agenda whatsoever, not the slightest. So looking back, I realized that I was doing exactly what Venerable Children was talking about, and I'm going to quote her here. He says, wanting to help them and wanting to change them are two different things. As is wanting to help them altruistically versus there is something in it for me. I added that last sentence because it was sort of reminiscent of some of the things that I was doing. So I wanted to revisit, to kind of look at some of the fallacies that were involved in this I know what's best for you type of thinking. Now my list, the list that I came up with is not necessarily all-encompassing, and it may apply only to me because I was trying to focus on the situations that I've been a part of. But if you find some resonance, so much the better. And if not, just take it as a look into my own mental state. So the first fallacy here is to think that I know and I understand what their problem is. Because there is a problem there, and I can see it. But arriving at that conclusion without checking with the people first, right? Because my picture in my mind is true and accurate of what they're going through and what their problem is. And I know what's good for them. And there is this I know that is a type of arrogance. I know. That's kind of the arrogance of thinking I have the knowledge and the wisdom of what's best for them. And so it's about imposing something from the outside, whether they like it or not. And this I know what's best attitude immediately sets in an equal relationship in which I am superior as the knower, and the other person is the inferior as the recipient of my knowledge. So it's really an ego booster, an ego pleasing, very self-centered, and it makes me feel oh so good because I know. Um, the second problem, a fallacy here in this twisted logic, is that I can provide the right solution or advice. So knowing is one thing, but being able to provide it is a different thing. This presupposes that I know unequivocally all the factors, circumstances, and conditions that are impacting this issue. I know the person's background. I know their conditioning. I know what their constraints are. I can see it from every possible angle. And I am right. And I also know that they have the ability and willingness to put my advice into practice. And they will do so perfectly, so that the result is exactly as I have envisioned it. Yeah. In other words, I'm omniscient. A little known fact, but. And so now comes the self-serving piece, because there is a self-serving hook into all of this, and that is that they will be grateful. And because of that, they will give me love and praise and approval and companionship and adoration, and they would look at me like I'm the best thing since sliced bread. So again, it's all about me. It's all about recognizing my wisdom, my compassion, my great devotion to helping others, and that they will do exactly as I say, without shortcuts or deviations, without changing anything, and that they will continue to come to me for advice because I'm that important, right? I am infallible. And my reputation as a great sage will increase, and everyone soon will come to me. I will have a column in the newspaper. Exactly. Instead of Dear Abbey, they will call me Dear Nima. And I will get accolades, presents, applause. I'll be recognized wherever I go. The next fallacy is all of this love, approval, recognition will bring me lasting happiness. So yes, the bottom line, I'm doing this because I want to be happy and not suffer. That's the hidden agenda, not the other person's happiness, but my own. But of course, this cannot bring me lasting happiness, so there's a trap here for myself. In that the action that I thought will bring me lasting happiness, in fact, does not. In fact, those very same people that I've tried to help are now very unhappy with me because I've meddled in their affairs, gave them advice that was not wanted, and made a few mistakes along the way. So that doesn't really work. And I think the crowning accomplishment here is thinking that my advice also will bring them lasting happiness. And as Venerable said yesterday during the teaching, is only a Buddha can give 100% pure, correct advice leading to happiness and good for all. So the odds are really smaller when it comes to the rest of us. So I'm going to quote something that Venerable said yesterday that just really impacted me, and I think is actually quite deep. It says, "It is better to try and listen to the person instead of going in and giving them advice. People appreciate more a listening ear." I wish I'd known that. We can start the conversation by saying, and this is the beauty of it, I think this is beautiful, and I hope that I can keep this in mind and apply it in the future. And so I'm quoting Venerable again. It says, "I am observing this, whatever behavior it is that we're observing, and I'm not really sure how you're doing." And then give them some space to share or not what they're going through, and listen to what's really going on with them rather than trying to guess and make my own conclusions and try to give my own advice. Maybe, as Venerable said, they just need someone to listen, to understand them, instead of trying to give them advice or wanting to change them. And a lot depends on our ability to slow down and let go of our agenda. Those are wise words indeed. And so that's my homework, to try and apply that every time I feel compelled to help somebody. And if I am honest with myself, when someone has done this for me, what Venerable suggested, I have felt so nourished, so healed, just in that exercise of having someone listen without wanting to interfere, or add something to my experience. Just listen. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you.